Hey everyone, welcome to Friday Night Live with your hosts Ben and Rob. This week, we saw the FDA has approved Elon's Neuralink brain chip device for good or for bad.
But with AI being at the level it is now, is this kind of transhumanism a good thing or a bad thing? Could these chips be hacked? And if so, what does it mean for humanity?
Welcome to the Matrix. In otherworldly news, a viral video of an alleged gray alien is circulating on social media. Is Skinny Bob a real extraterrestrial?
With a name like that, I sure hope so.
Me too. Well, we'll talk about that tonight, along with a lot of other UFO footage that just came out the other day. And this Friday Night Live will also bring you stories of miracles as well as the top 10 weirder news of the week.
Highlights from this week's list include an alien signal coming from Mars, an underground city found beneath a home, and a deadly fight over a Hot Pocket. Plus, don't miss the fan favorite segment on Bendela Effects, where we show you some new Mandela Effects we found, and there's a Dig Deep live Q&A only on Rise.tv. So let's get started, and we'll see you out
on the edge. And by the way, if you're listening to our Edge of Wonder podcast, please give us a 5-star rating and review so we can keep making this awesome content. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel wherever it is that you are watching our live stream right now. So,
how you doing, Ben?
Good, pretty good, Rob. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Cool. Yeah. And so we were before the show, we were talking a little bit about some new Mandela effects that Ben was tracking down, and it was pretty funny because he's been going so hard on the research on those. He's like hitting old newspaper clips and stuff like that. He's like determined to find Shazam.
Dude, it's hard because there's not a lot of
it's all peripheral stuff. You gotta
it really is. I was going through old Sinbad interviews from 1994, 95. I was looking for show times, in the back in the day. We're gonna show some stuff here a little bit, but inadvertently I found other Mandela effects while I was looking for the Shazam stuff that popped up, and so I just thought, whoa, this is really cool. So it wasn't a waste of time because I found some other stuff.
Right.
But well, before we get into that, we usually show some funny things. I saw this I guess you could say a meme of the Amazon headquarters compared to the Tower of Babel.
Whoa. Yeah, when they were first kind of like construct, or the blueprints for that came out, I think there was a lot of like people saying that it was constructed after the Tower of Babel. Like lots of people genuinely think that's why they constructed it that way.
I mean, I have to admit, it is a really cool looking building, but it is very, I mean, it's very similar.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. But where is that thing?
I want to say,
where's it going to be? I guess.
In California. I mean, right?
So this is already constructed. Like this is an actual image of it, or is this like the future Amazon?
Oh, maybe that's a rendering of what
I think it is.
Yes. Oh, okay. Oh, it's going to be in Virginia. I'm sorry. I was thinking it was going to be in I keep getting like Apple and Amazon, Apple, and Google. I get kind of confused on all their headquarters stuff because they're all like these weird, funky looking buildings. Like the Apple one is that circular city thing that has a park in the center of it. So yeah, I was actually getting confused with Amazon and Google, or Google and Apple. But yeah, okay, so that's going to be in Virginia, and that's a rendering. So these tech companies have too much money, honestly.
I know, man. They seriously do. Just give me a little bit of that. That's all I need. Just a little.
I mean, this is pretty cool, but it's like,
is that Apple? That's Apple.
That's Apple's. That is Apple's. And
You know, it reminds me of something straight out of like Interstellar or something, the way that that's constructed.
Yeah, it does. You're right. Interstellar. Yeah. Earthquake ready headquarters. Yeah, I did hear it's earthquake proof. So, I mean, it looks like a pretty cool place and it's better than just like a straight up building. But I wish they would like cities would do really cool, innovative designs that are more eco-friendly, I guess you could say. But speaking of that, we're actually going to get into that later on in the show because concrete. So it's crazy because the Roman concrete buildings are that still stand to this
Yeah.
very day, and they don't understand how they were able to stand so long. And they found that the concrete that was used is self-healing.
That is mind blowing. And what
Yeah.
explain for everyone what you mean by that?
Well, so we'll get into it a little later, but it's
Okay.
not this is not conspiracy. It's the so they took like certain aspects of the sea, like salt water, but they like were able to extract certain minerals from seawater using limestone and a few other things. And what they found was that if the concrete got damaged, the way that it was made, that it internally the concrete would start heating up and reseal the parts that were damaged. And there's scientific proof of this, and they're testing it out. And it's just mind-blowing because this is like 2,000 years old, and we have like, concrete
You
buildings that
know,
barely like sidewalks last like a year before they're destroyed by rain.
so a couple of weeks ago, we posted this clip on these swords in ancient China that would self heal as well, kind of, right? They
Mhm.
would basically like memory, they would go back to shape. And like, I can't tell you how many annoying comments I got that misunderstood what I was saying. And they were like, we already do that. Haven't you ever seen a spring before? Or, yeah, if you heat metal, it'll go back. And I was like, dude, like these terracotta warriors, like this terracotta warrior, like the account says that it was literally it had landed on a sword and the sword was bent 45 degrees, literally
Mhm.
bent 45 degrees, like folded 45 degrees. And when they
Right.
picked the terracotta warrior up, it just went like boom, without heat or without anything. Like, and it's like, well, this is technology that we're not fully aware of. And every metalsmith on the planet came out to try to debunk what I was saying. And I was like, I'm seriously, like, and then you're telling me this, and I'm like, see, exactly. Like the ancients had knowledge that we are not aware of. Like we need to be like looking at this stuff way more. How did they figure that out? That's insane.
Yeah, Lindsay, actually, in our doc, I moved the article up. Can you click on this? The headline is "Self-Healing Stone: Scientists Unravel Roman Concrete Recipe from 2,000 years ago and How It Works." So she's going to bring this up in a second.
Cool.
So, but like the article mentions, our cities are basically kind of falling apart, and these concrete bridges, they last like 20 years before they have to like be replaced and rebuilt. And so this image on the left is 2,000 years old, and that's from the Romans. And it's like the concrete is like resealing itself. And then the image on the right is 20 years old, and it actually looks older than the 2,000-year-old concrete. So
That's insane.
it's
That's so
totally
true. Like,
insane.
why hasn't anyone thought about that before? Like, why is this
Yeah.
thing still standing? That's
Well,
crazy.
they say they just don't know. They said the recipes like have been like the recipes of how they make the concrete has been lost all this time. And so researchers have been looking into this, and they found that this is from the Epic Times article here. Based on their findings, the researchers proposed that as water permeates the concrete, the lime pockets called clasts or remnant lime, which persist in aggravate scale throughout, cause the concrete to become reactive again. So they said this results in an inherent long-term crack filling mechanism built right into the concrete. So if a concrete from the Roman times, like I was saying earlier, gets a crack in it, the limestone within the concrete itself will start filling in the cracks from the inside.
Yeah, but it's what they said was this. And have you ever worked with concrete before, Ben?
I
So
have not.
okay, so if you get like a cement mix or a concrete mix, it'll actually like heat up. It's like activated, it'll heat up and then it sets and dries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when they're saying it reactivates, something in the concrete is reactivating the process that it was in when it was setting, and it's resealing itself. Like that is mind blowing.
Yeah, Lindsay, can you? Well, so this right here, upon cracking, water can infiltrate, transporting a calcium-enriched solution into the pore network to heal the damage. So, Lindsay, can you scroll up 2 images above that one right there? No, sorry, the A. No, sorry, go down. That right there. So it's saying so what we're looking at here, it almost looks like the moon, but it's just a circular piece of the concrete as formed. It starts out, then there becomes a massive fracture in the concrete itself, and then it says it's mated, meaning that giant crack that looks like it's maybe about an inch thick all of a sudden just becomes like a centimeter or so thick. It like reconnects to the concrete, and it heats up internally
That's what
using.
I'm saying. It
Yeah, it's
activates. Like there's
insane, man.
the chemical reaction is still in there. Like, and it's dry material. There's not wet material there. Like that's mind blowing.
Yes, totally mind blowing. I've never even came across this, and it's so funny because I think I was even talking to you on the phone last week or something, and I kept saying like, this is so crazy that you like, because I was on being in Fort Myers. I was at the pier, and there used to be this bridge right there, and the whole thing is just gone.
Yeah, it's wiped out. Yeah,
things, and then like I was seeing photos of the Coliseum. I'm just like, wait a minute, what the heck? How in the world is the Coliseum still standing?
Yeah.
Yet this bridge that's not very old, granted there was a hurricane, but it's like over the span of 2,000 years. I mean, there's been earthquakes, there's been floods, there's been torrential like downpour, thunderstorms.
In Italy, there's been like volcano eruptions.
Yeah,
you name it,
everything you can possibly think of, right. And yet this thing is still standing. So it's like it's so crazy. And now
Italy is lucky though that it doesn't have hurricanes hitting it. I mean, there's nothing like a hurricane that hits anything in Europe.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, and we're gonna get more into this kind of content in our weird news segment too. But yeah, I thought this would be good to bring up right now because it is really, 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 really crazy. And then the other so where the conspiracy part comes into this is that have they known how to actually make this, but like, yeah, we're just going to like destroy that evidence of how to make it. And therefore, we'll just build these anything out of concrete because we'll need to like redo it after 20 years. And that way we have a job and more money coming through.
Wouldn't they be able to like say chip off a piece of the Coliseum or find a piece that's been kind of,
well, that's
from there.
That's actually what they're doing in the
materials.
Yeah, that's actually what they're doing in the experiment. I don't know if it was a Coliseum directly.
Well, no, that's whatever it is. But it's like the idea though is like if you find the exact elements that make up the building, then you start experimenting with putting them together in different ways until you found something that self-heals, right?
Yeah, and I honestly would imagine that they're just using cheaper material to make concrete because limestone
limestone's very good. That's true.
Yeah, I mean that's what all the pyramids are made. I mean limestone can last for a long time. So it's probably like, well, instead of limestone, because that would take a lot more money and time and everything else, we'll just go with a cheaper rock and break that down and use that. And that's, I mean, I'm just guessing here, but I would imagine that's kind of more what's, I mean, everybody's trying to cut costs and save money. And plus, if you're going to make something that's going to last forever, you know.
Yeah, but you know what though? The only part that doesn't quite follow that, I like totally agree with what you're saying, but you could sell different quality of concrete for different jobs, and that concrete would just be more expensive. So
yeah, I mean that would be perfect.
That would be normal, right? So like if it was like a really important project, like say you were fixing the Washington Monument, or, you know, whatever it was, like you're building a Capitol building or something like that, using the high grade concrete, you'd want that around so that you could sell it at a really good price because you have the recipe to do it. Right. So I don't necessarily think it's just the cutting cost thing. I think that they're like, they just don't have the recipe yet, because they would sell it, you know?
Yeah. You might be right. I mean, according to this article, that's what it does say. They just don't know how it was made, and they're testing different things out. And
no, wait, was the pyramid made with limestone? What is that rock? Is it granite? Is it limestone?
No, I think it's limestone.
Can we get a fact check on that?
Like,
not that I doubt you, I just don't remember.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure, because that's what I remember, because limestone is not found in that area. And so that's been the other conspiracy about the pyramids. And actually not just the pyramids, but a lot of sites all over the world are constructed using limestone. And like Göbekli
Tepe.
Yeah, that one specifically doesn't have limestone. And it was like they brought it from like 200 miles away.
I remember that story.
A mountain, no less. And it's like, how in the heck did they even do that, and who did that? So,
you know what's crazy, Ben?
Yeah, it's limestone. Yeah.
They have stories in Hawaiian culture that's very similar, like how certain things got built. They had to, like, in Hawaiian culture, where there are rocks that no one can figure out how they got there from across the island, the old stories say that the people of the past created a huge chain of people and handed the rocks to one another one at a time until they got them all over there. Like, that's how they got them all over, which is like, I mean, maybe they did that too. Like in the past, they could have done that. Some of the rocks are so big though, obviously it's like you'd need giants to do that. Like, there's no other way. Seriously. You know? Yeah. Definitely. So it was limestone then that the pyramids.
Yeah, it was limestone. Yeah. And it looks like maybe a mix of some granite too, but mostly limestone. So
that's really interesting. This has been an interesting conversation.
I agree. Well, all right, we're gonna play a trailer right now. When we come back, we'll start talking about the insane Mandela effect that I found while trying to find things about Shazam, which inadvertently led to something else. So
all right.
Hidden beneath the Sphinx, there are whispers of a secret. Tucked away in Antarctica, far from the modern world, are ancient monuments and classified military operations. Pyramids found all around the globe may be covering up more than the ancient civilization of Egypt. But go back all the way to Atlantis. What if we uncovered the truth about ancient Atlantis, Antarctica, and Egypt, and how their secrets may change everything we think we know about history? Advanced technology, psychic predictions come true, a Nazi search, and pyramids. Hollow Earth, warm oases, secret military operations, and pyramids. Sacred geometry, the Sphinx's hidden treasure, elongated skulls, and the most famous pyramids of all. What do the secrets of our past mean for humanity today? Find out in Edge of Wonders series, Ancient Civilizations.
All right, you guys, you can find that on our rise.tv platform, along with a lot of our other series that we did. And we just released the first episode of a 6-part series on Thursday, the other day, about the Garden of Eden. And
that was an awesome episode if you guys haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I was, yes, that was so cool. I really enjoyed that. And my brother actually helped edit that video, and he did an amazing job with that one. So that was the first one that he did for us of the series. So yeah, it was really cool. I really enjoyed that myself. So yeah. So cool. So yeah, this is our rise.tv platform, and there's the first one, Where's the Garden of Eden? Top 7 most shocking locations.
Yeah, we have 6 episodes of this coming out, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We have 6 episodes.
Yeah, you guys can expect, for the next couple of months, it's going to be coming out. And we've got so many other series on rise.tv. If you're supporting our work, you get access to all of that. And for all of you out there supporting us right now, we love you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, so cool. All right, we'll talk about this Mandela effect here. So are you going to play the intro?
That's funny.
Nice. All right. So, okay. Yeah, I was doing some research on Shazam because actually my brother did the video. He called me and he was just like, dude, have you checked like old newspapers? Like, what they used to have, before computers, how you would check to see what was playing on in the movies
at the theater.
At the theater, you would get the local paper and
the entertainment section.
Exactly, and check, and that would basically go for the whole week, so pretty much, more or less. But anyway, or you would just call the theater and be like, "What's your?"
No, yeah, you literally have a schedule for everything that was in there for the week, and you check it on there.
Yeah. So I was specifically trying to find Shazam playing in some theater in like 1994, 95 or something, but unfortunately I couldn't find anything. But I did, as I was like researching this, well, there's 2 things that I came across. We'll do the first one, which is it Interview with a Vampire or Interview with the Vampire?
I know this already. It is retroactively, it's but it originally was a Interview with a Vampire.
So check this out. Lindsay, can you show this? Right there, Lake Cinemas. This is from 1994 in the Akron Beacon Journal, and it says Interview with a Vampire.
Son of a.
And then scroll down. The next one says General Cinema. Scroll down, Lindsay. And it says, wait, is this the one? Yeah, that says Interview with the Vampire.
What?
Yeah, great. It's on the same page. Isn't that crazy?
Wait, scroll up. Where is this from? This is from General Cinema?
This is from General Cinema.
Okay, wait, what's the first one though? So that's General Cinema.
The first one is from Lake Cinema.
Lake Cinema. So are they both local cinemas?
Yes. And this is across the board. I was finding there's a lot of newspaper clippings that have listed Interview with a Vampire, and one of them even had an ad for Interview with a Vampire, but it said the right next to it. So it's like side by side, and it's like, wow, so
that's weird.
I mean, to me, it makes a lot more sense saying Interview with a Vampire, because if you say Interview with the Vampire, it means like that's the vampire, like the only vampire in existence. You're interviewing the vampire, and that's not the case in the movie. So in this sense, like interviewing a vampire makes more
I have
sense.
To say, like, some of these Mandela effects make absolutely no sense. Like,
I agree.
How did you go from something that makes actual grammar sense to something that doesn't make any sense? Like, what was the conversation like in this dimension leading up to using the instead of a? That doesn't even make any sense.
No, it doesn't at all. And
Lindsay, hold on. Lindsay is like a grammar expert, right? So
Yeah.
what is this? Does this make sense to you?
Well, it does make sense because it's an interview with this specific vampire.
With the vampire. Okay.
Yeah,
So it
if
could
was
go
just
either way.
Any vampire, it would be interview with
Yeah.
a vampire. We don't care which vampire it is. But this
Well-
one is an interview with the vampire, and then you kind of are intrigued about, oh, which one is the vampire
Which-
you're talking about?
Right. And
Okay, so it could go either way.
Yeah, and I can understand from that perspective too, because it's like interview with a vampire. Okay, big deal. You interviewed a vampire. It's like, no, we interviewed the vampire. So yeah, it's Susan Rice wrote this book, right? She just passed away recently.
No. Was it
Susan Rice?
Anne Rice? Or something.
Anne Rice, not Susan Rice. Sorry. Yes, you're right. Anne Rice. So anyway, this is what I found as I was researching the Shazam movie in '94. And there's a whole bunch of interview with a vampire in these movies or in the newspapers. I just didn't pull out every single one of them, but that was super interesting. Now, the bigger one that I started, because now I'm like, wow, let me think about other things in that were like different spellings. The big one I found was Berenstain Bears, believe it or not. And there were over 44,200 instances between, this is all prior to 2000. I've like only wanted to check things that were not available, that the internet didn't exist yet.
And newspapers.
Yeah, these are all newspapers.
Okay, so for everyone at home, why this is significant
Yeah.
is because newspapers have copy editors who would never let something like this slide if it was incorrect.
Correct. And
that's crazy.
So this, library adds more books, Berenstain Bears, and there's like Berenstain Bears like 4 or 5 times in this one. And again, is it with the E or the A, right? So this is this one, Lindsay. Okay, zoom in a little bit. Wait, sorry. Zoom out. What day is this? What's the date? 1988 is the date on this. Berenstain Bears, Dr. Seuss cassettes, and then it says Berenstain Bears again. And this is an ad. This is an actual ad from this holiday mart that's featuring these books for kids. And Lindsay, if you zoom in on the right of the books, on the bottom right of the books, it says go to school. Berenstain Bears, it's spelled with an A. Right?
What the heck, dude?
This one was weird. And there's another one that I found. This one. This is, oh my gosh, like Berenstain's missed their target. And this is a columnist talking about very specific Berenstain Bears books. And they're all Berenstains without the A. And like you said, Rob, the headline even has Berenstains in it. You would think
they would never, ever let.
Yeah, they would definitely check this over to be like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So, and look how many times Berenstain is in this article. And this is from,
we're talking about Harry Potter here. So this was what, 2000?
Okay.
7, 8, something like that.
The book came out in 97.
Yeah, the book came out in 97. So
no, but I mean this article I'm talking about. When is this article from? What year?
I think I have it. Can you zoom out a little bit? I thought I took a okay, this is actually from 2000.
Oh, it is.
So it's before the movies, the Harry Potter movies. Yeah, before the Harry Potter movies. So this is July 2000. I think the first one came out in 2001, or did the first movie come out in 2000?
The movie came out in 2001.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was 2001. So at this point, they're probably in the process of making the first movie. So That's so crazy. I have to admit that book that we saw on the other article with all the books, it was actually kind of hard to tell whether there is an A or an E in that one. But
The A doesn't even look right.
no,
That
it doesn't at all.
look right.
And it's just, you would say Berenstain Bears. Like, can you like zoom in on that even more? I don't even know if you can. It's hard.
It's impossible to tell there.
And also that could, I don't know if that's a photo or a drawing.
It looks like a drawing.
It does. So that could be another aspect of this. But anyway, like I said, there was over 4,000 results between, I think I typed in 1980 to 2000. I think that was what I did. And there was over 4,000 results saying Berenstain with an E, bears, found in newspapers all across the country between then and there. So that's so crazy. But that one about the review, we were talking about the Harry Potter one, and it said Berenstain in the headline. That one was pretty crazy. So Berenstains missed their target. I still can't get over this one.
The picture that I just pulled up of the Berenstain Bears, AIN, is for sale on Etsy and says it's a vintage book from '78.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the Mandela effect, right? So everything, even if you had the book that you like, let's say you got this book in 1970, whatever, and you still have it and you went to go check, it would say an A now instead of an E. Even if you remember the E, it would still say A. So that's just,
it's like who decides what stays and what gets changed. Like it's weird. Like,
yeah,
it's just all jumbled up, you know.
It is, and that's why I don't know if you know, I don't think somebody is deliberately going back in time.
No,
saying,
of course not.
Hey, we're going to change this to an A to an E, but it's just,
I was talking about the machine elves, Ben.
But yeah, but I think, like, you know, this shows that something is going on with our timeline, and something really weird is definitely going on with this. But yeah, I haven't seen anyone talk about this. Like every Mandela effect, you know, all the videos out there and all the viral stuff, I haven't seen anyone pull up these old articles, and I was like, whoa, we're going to be the first persons, at least that I know, that are showing this. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, so I'm going to go through more and try to find some other stuff. There was already a few other things I found, so I'll save those for future episodes, and I'm pretty excited to talk about that. So
awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. All right. So yeah, so anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. And speaking of timeline shifts, why don't we get into this before that we start talking about all the alien ET stuff? But there is an article that came out in the Daily Star, and the headline is "People Convinced Time Travel is Real as Nike Shoes Are Spotted in a 400-Year-Old Painting."
Stop it. Let's pull this up. I gotta see this.
Lindsay's getting it. Actually, Lindsay, you could pull up I think she's pulling up the actual artwork because you can see it way more clearly. So this is called A Portrait of a Boy, painted in the 17th century by Dutch master Ferdinand Bol, B-O-L.
Come on, that's a glare on the extremely polished shoe.
Okay, I wanted to hear your take on what
close up on that even more, Lindsay. Can you get really get in there? This is
as far as you get.
You can't zoom in, not with the cursor thing, but with your mouse.
No, I can't. But I'll look for another photo for you.
That's a glare, boys and girls. This is not Nike. That doesn't even look like a Nike symbol. I love the enthusiasm though.
That's
trying to find time slips or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm traveling Nikes.
there was this woman that pointed it out, but it is pretty interesting because everything's black, and it's like, why is this white thing in there? Like, why? I mean, one, I guess if you're right, and it's just a glare, that it just shows a level of detail in the painting, right? But why isn't it on the other side?
Well, because you don't get to choose what glares off of a shoe, right? Like where the light is coming and how it's hitting. If there was a fold in the leather, like it hit right there, you'd get a glare like that.
That is kind of weird, though. I have to admit. Like, it's like,
I don't disagree, but it's definitely not a Nike symbol.
It looks to me almost more like the sock is peeking through because it's way too white to be a good glare. Or maybe he just
you could be right.
Skilled at light.
I don't know.
But like
I
can't. The problem is that it can't be the sock peeking through because the shoe goes up too high on his ankle already, right?
And if you look at the other shoe, it's not the same way.
It really comes down to it's either a glare or it's a Nike symbol. And I'm not going with the Nike symbol here.
Oh, that's funny. Dom says he's not a fan of that style of shoe.
Dom, you have that style of shoe. You know you do.
That was a very popular 17th century.
I have to say, like, if you ever go into the Dutch section in the museum in New York, which is the Met, the footwear and the just like the clothing in general for the Dutch men back then is so feminine to me. They had these like stockings that were pulled up really high, really, really high heels that you just know what kind of sound they would make when you're walking on them, and these extravagant hats, It's really weird, I think. And I mean, it's just Dutch culture, but it's like, yo, you guys went full on.
Well, actually, the National Gallery that is showing that piece, it's the one that they actually made the tweet about it.
Yeah, they're just trying to it's clickbait.
You might be right about that.
Of course it is. Come on. It's this is a new reason for people to come in and look at these paintings,
She's pulling it up now. The original tweet. It says Ferdinand Bull died on this day in 1680. Currently on loan to us, his charming portrait of Frederick, I don't even know, depicts the son of a wine merchant. Take a closer look on his shoes, and you might spot what looks like a modern detail. So yeah,
I'd love to see this in person, so you could get your face up close to the shoe and see what's going on there.
That is kind of crazy, though. Every time I look at it, it's just so clear. Maybe Nike was inspired by this. So
maybe he dropped cocaine on his shoe, Ben. Just kidding.
Who, the painter or the... anyway. All right. Wow, it's already 8:10, you guys. So we're about ready to watch another trailer, but before we do, we've got something really important to share with you guys.
Yeah, with all the censorship, we're proud that a company like Gold Co. wants to support us, and it's also something that we believe in and that we can actually get behind.
Yeah, and as you all know, it feels a lot like 2008 all over again when millions of Americans watched their retirement savings disappear. Well, gold and silver can protect your savings from inflation and dollar devaluation. But when it comes to buying precious metals, you need the right company in your corner.
And that's why we've partnered with the top-rated precious metals company, Goldco, because reputation matters. Goldco has helped people like you and me place over $1 billion in gold and silver. That means these guys are super experienced.
If you have a retirement account, they're offering our supporters up to $10,000 in free silver when opening a qualified IRA account. For cash buyers, you can get bonus silver just for making a purchase.
And if you buy $50,000 worth of precious metals, you'll get $5,000 in bonus silver. And if you buy $100,000 worth, you'll get $10,000 in silver.
This is your opportunity to protect yourself from, unfortunately, the up and down roller coaster that is our economy. So go to edgeofgold.com to get started before it's too late.
Yeah, remember, you guys, we don't really promote a lot of products, but when we do, it's because it's something we can really use or believe in. Again, that's edgeofgold.com. How could you ever forget that? Thank you guys for all your support. Now let's all watch a trailer.
Have you heard of fantastic floods wiping out humanity? How about different creation stories in different cultures and religions?
Then there are gods, different beings, corruption, and the downfall of man, and fantastic tales that make up creation stories across cultures, like the most famous one, the Garden of Eden. But the biggest question everyone has is, where was the Garden of Eden?
And when we went looking for the answer, we came across places that were everything from reasonable to the wildest and most out of this world places that people have proposed.
You're gonna love number one. So join us on this Edge of Wonder series as we travel across the Americas, the deserts of Africa, the places you'd seriously never expect, and so much more.
Let's start out with a place you would never think the garden would be in a million years. Jackson, Missouri.
Wait, what? Why?
You're gonna find out why.
Oh, Jackson, Missouri.
I still couldn't get over that. I'm like, wait a minute, this is a real thing, Jackson, Missouri, and yes, it is. So that was more of the first joke one we did, but we get into really serious ones, obviously, as you can see in the trailer. But yeah, so that's all.
You have to say though, there are some people that are fairly serious about it being in Jackson, Missouri.
Oh, there's a certain group of people.
We don't want to offend anyone in their beliefs, even though it's Jackson, Missouri we're talking about. But yeah, no, Garden of Eden is supposedly in Jackson, Missouri, according to some accounts.
Yeah, and there was even a play with these group of people, but anyway, that's another story for a different day. All right. Anyway, let's go back to aliens and other stuff here. So okay, let's see, what do we got here? What time is it?
I think it's time to talk about Skinny Bob, Ben.
Let's talk about Skinny Bob. So actually, this isn't really that old, or I mean new, but for some reason it's some like not random, but some account on Twitter that doesn't really talk about aliens all of a sudden posts this and it kind of goes viral again. But I think we actually might have had this in one of our Old World Order series, if I remember. I can't remember if we showed this one or not. But so Skinny Bob. All right, do you want to show this link?
Oh yeah. Skinny Bob.
Skinny Bob. Yeah, so this came out in 2011. The story behind this is that this was a KGB secret video that was that somebody got and released it publicly after a long period of time. A lot of people have really looked at this video, and I think what makes this one stand out as a sense of a lot of the other ones is the movement of Skinny Bob.
Yeah, like the blinking and stuff.
The blinking,
and the eyes.
Even his temples are kind of like contracting almost a little bit, and the whole movement of the head. And I don't.
Like my 3rd grade science teacher.
Did you say it looks like your 3rd grade science teacher?
Yeah, he kind of did.
I don't know if that would be super scary or super interesting.
Like, his head was a little smaller, but generally kind of looked like him.
All right. Very interesting. So it was uploaded by an unknown subscriber at the time, had zero subscribers over a decade ago. Nobody has come forward and claimed responsibility. The YouTube channel never uploaded any additional footage beyond the original uploads.
Interesting.
So that's what's so fascinating about this. It was uploaded. No one really knows by who. And supposedly...
why is it that these aliens are dressed like they are walking down the street in Manhattan. Everyone in Manhattan wears black turtlenecks. I just want to know where they got their fashion sense from. Are they from Manhattan? Where are they from?
What if Steve Jobs got his fashion sense from his
man. Steve Jobs was the original Skinny Bob. You just did.
Yeah, well, you take the logo, you reverse the logo, and
That's
you put
right.
them together. It comes an alien head.
That's what it is. You got it.
Oh man, that's pretty funny. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, no, I mean, there's been a lot of the talk about how the gray alien, the grays do wear some kind of suits. Usually, people will say that they're almost metallic or shiny. These ones, but what's really interesting is their arm length. Their arm length is disproportionate.
It's really long
to their bodies, and their hands are a little bit bigger too. So, if this was somebody in a costume, again, there's not much information about when this came out, right? So, I mean, I could be fake, but I think out of everything I've seen,
it's the most real looking of available alien, alleged alien videos.
I would agree. This one always piqued my interest more than anything out there because of how realistic it looks. And like I said, they've asked other people about it, people who do makeup work and things like that too. So, yeah. So anyway, it's very all that's very interesting.
So yeah, the only possible answer to why the things look the way that they do with the arm length and the head size and stuff is if you used a normal size thin human being and put a prosthetic gigantic head on it and then zoomed the camera out, you could potentially and you also had prosthetic arms to lengthen the forearm into the hand. You could potentially construct something that looked similar to that. It wouldn't necessarily be that hard, but it still looked like the mechanics of it blinking and stuff like that was fairly advanced. I mean, we're talking about stuff you'd see that was like post Star Wars, even even in Star Wars, you wouldn't see something that advanced.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, and like I said, it's hard to gauge when this footage. Okay, one, if this is real, when was this recorded? And it looks like it might have been recorded, maybe even in the 50s. So, which would probably make more sense considering there was a lot of UFO and activity going around there. So let's just say maybe 50s, 60s time period ish. So the question is, would they have that ability to do something like that? Now, if it was fake, then that means it could have came out. Yeah, it could have been made in the 2000s and they made it look like it was, it's not that difficult to get old video equipment to recreate something like that. But then again, the question is, why would you have 0 subscribers on your YouTube? You just started an account. You upload one video and one video alone.
And never do anything. You're not even looking for fame. You just wanted to get it out there.
Yeah, and you just upload it. I don't really think this video would have, if there's not some truth to this video, I don't think it would have, we still would be talking about it today. Or it would have been debunked already. And I can honestly say, I mean, I've looked into this video for quite a while, and I haven't found anything to solidly say it's 100% fake, but I also haven't found anything to say 100% real either. But it is very intriguing to say the least. If it's one video I actually show people that I meet in person. Like if they're ever like, oh, I've ever seen an alien or anything, and I'll always mention this video. It's like, probably the closest thing I could tell you is this KGB supposed video that was released secretly, and who knows whether it's real or not, but it really does look real. So,
well, I have some really interesting news, Ben. I think I know where Skinny Bob works now. I'm pretty sure he works in the FDA, and that's how they recently got approval on Neuralink. Skinny Bob Skinny Bob from the FDA was the one that approved Neuralink. Have you heard of that? You heard about this?
Yes. So the other day, Elon announced that Neuralink is now FDA approved it to study.
Which means so much to us. I mean, they've approved so many things that have benefited mankind over the last few years that, Neuralink is just the next best thing, right?
Right, exactly. Now, okay, I can see in a perfect world if there was no elite forces out there trying to manipulate humanity in some form or another, maybe this could be a good thing. But considering that we have a lot of people out there that I don't necessarily trust in power, I am not sure if that is a good thing. The biggest question I think everyone has is, well, okay, what happens if you put one, a chip in your brain? Two, information like this works both ways. So if you are communicating with something as some kind of device, even if it's hooked, like, especially if it's hooked up to the internet, how do we not know that there's a two-way path? Like, you're sending it information and it could be sending you information. And then at that point, especially since AI is becoming so sophisticated, and Elon has been warning about AI, this is why I'm a little bit confused about, moving forward with this. Although I know his understanding is that he wants to help people who have some kind of neurological disorder, or they can't function right, or they can't move right, and this could actually really, really help them. And honestly, if I was a disabled person in that regard, I would have to admit this would pique my interest. I would want to know a lot more about it, and I would be looking more into it. But as like just putting a chip in your brain, I don't know. I don't think that's a great idea.
Well, yeah. And what I think is so crazy about it, right, is that we don't even yet fully understand the brain. There's so many things about the brain we don't understand. So here we are putting a chip in there. Let's tinker with it. Like, you don't know what could happen. Like, even one small change to the brain it could cause all kinds of things that we're not aware of. And, there's no accountability for the FDA or anyone else on what happens with this stuff.
Right.
Not only that, but like, spiritually speaking, if we're talking about like ascending spiritually, I mean, you're putting something in between your body that was given to you and the whatever you want to call it, the 4D, 5D world, astral plane, other dimensions, heaven, whatever, like, at some point, wouldn't that need to be dealt with? Like, I don't even know spiritually, like, how to look at that thing, it's just a bizarre question.
And that's the other aspect from the spiritual perspective. But like,
dude, what if okay, what if someone, like, imagine if, like, we don't know even how many different things that could alter in your brain. What if the chip shorts, or there's some problem with the chip, and it's sending signals into your brain that are actually releasing more DMT into your, like, it's causing your brain to release more DMT into your pineal gland, and you're just tripping balls and you can't think straight, and then you do something crazy. Like, how do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many, I'm just like trying to think of so many things that could like go wrong with this,
I mean, I know. And then the fact that the FDA approved it too, I'll admit, I don't trust the FDA after the last couple of years.
It's like zero accountability for any of that.
Yeah. So, again, and it's okay. It's not necessarily Elon that I don't, it's like, I'm not trusting here. It's more of like, other nefarious sources that are like, oh yeah, well, this is great. Let's have Elon keep pushing this forward, and then we'll just hijack it when the time is right. Okay. And we'll just start hacking into everybody. And like, what if the AI is able to like get into your brain and starts like, instead of like DMT, what if it just like tells you other things, It's like,
that's what I'm saying. Wait. Oh. So like, let's review what's going on here. Man makes AI, man decides to make a chip to improve themselves so that they can compete with and or battle AI. AI develops itself, learns how to hack the chip, or connects with an AI god already in existence from outer space that's been there for eons, becomes exponentially more powerful, hacks the chips of all humankind, and now you're at the control of this AI god somewhere, or something like that, right? Like,
then we become walking Terminators.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you're literally like a robotic Hal walking around, you know, at doing the bidding of like some zombie doing the bidding of like some computer that's telling you what to do. Like the whole thing. We're talking about a piece of machinery that's hackable, and we don't know what effects. Like this is, it's bad enough that you know you can make a MK mind control slave, just, you know, like the Manchurian Candidate. Never mind if you're putting a chip in there that controls you directly.
Right. And I think one aspect of this is that I have to say, I honestly don't, you know, I haven't sat there and watched the 2.5-hour video that explains what Neuralink is. You know, I just don't have any desire to watch that video to then break down everything down. But I have seen bits and pieces of it. And I do know specifically it's more talking about people like that can't hear, people that maybe even can't see, people that
that's
have,
how
like,
it all starts.
But yeah, I mean,
who's going to argue with that though, Ben?
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's why I think in some aspects, you know, this can really help a lot of people. And like I said, I would be very fascinated by this too, if I, you know, really, but then from another, like I said, from another perspective, it's just everything going on in our world right now. It's a little bit nuts. So,
okay.
So can they stop any kind of hacking aspect of it? That's the question.
No. I mean, how could you? How do you make something unhackable? You don't. It's impossible to make something unhackable. With enough time and effort and whatever it is, there is no such thing as a bulletproof, unhackable piece of whatever code, right? There's always we don't even know what types of technology the military already has, or like they're supposedly 100 years ahead. So whatever we're even thinking of or could conceive of, it's already beyond that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember back in the day, as the early 2000s, the UN came out with this thing called Agenda 21. Then, it moved to, you know, this Agenda 2030 or whatever it is now, which is fine. But one of the things in the Agenda 2030 is like, you know, there's a bunch of things in there. Okay. And I'm not going to comment necessarily on the validity of any of those things, but it's like one of the agendas in the UN's 2030 goals is, for instance, end world hunger. How are you going to argue with that? Like, but when you actually get in there and look at what, you know, the United Nations 2030 agenda could potentially do, you're talking about another thing entirely, right? So it's like, when, you know, who's going to argue?
You're talking about entirely. How do you end world hunger? Well, what's the root cause of
You know what would end world hunger? Just get rid of all of the governments.
That would end world hunger. Yes,
right.
But from the government standpoint, how do you end world hunger? You get rid of the people. Then you don't have more.
Right, exactly. No, but what I'm trying to say is like,
I mean, I was just like, oh, just let all of them die, then there won't be.
Yeah, but some of these things you're like not going to argue with. Like, it's, of course, like, you know, if those things can improve, if Neuralink can improve people's lives that have those things, like, cool, right? But and you're not going to argue with that. But what are the things that we haven't looked at that could be potential security issues with this? I think that's supposedly, like, that's supposed to be what we're looking at that makes something like that, you know, of like a more viable option. Like, has the FDA done all of the work to track down all of the potential risks here or not? I think that's what you got to look at, you know.
We got a good comment right on that topic, guys. On Rise TV, Kraken Up said, exactly, Chinese chips probably have a built-in Trojan horse.
Right, and where are these chips being made?
I don't know. Actually,
we should find out.
Yeah, that
you know, like we should know. We should have full disclosure on that, because if it's China, you're like, seriously, like, we have no idea what they're putting in there. They have their own policies.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And that's the other thing that worries me about this. Like, where are they being developed? And there's just, I was going to say something else too. Now I just totally slipped my mind. But
Sorry, we're talking about Skinny Bob and
no. It was based on this Neuralink thing and something I can't remember. I'll think of it here probably in a minute. But yeah, we were talking about where they were being made and just something. Well, oh yeah, I know what I was gonna say. I think this could also be why Elon has been very scared about AI. You know, if he's developed, I mean, he's been developing this Neuralink thing for like 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden, you know, and that could be why he's kind of freaked out about where the AI is going without really saying it directly, because I don't think he wouldn't be able to say that. Well, I'm worried about what AI can do because I'm developing these brain chips and you know what, and then because then everyone would be freaking out if he says that. So he can't really say that, but I have a feeling that's probably where he's going with this. And you know what could potentially happen. So yeah, I mean, I think the biggest question everybody is going to have is, could these things be hacked, and how do you make them hackable?
Yes, there's nothing is unhackable.
Yeah, unless there's no way to connect to the internet. But if you have this on and you're connecting to a computer that's connected to the internet, it's already connected to the internet. So I don't really, unless it has its own specific computer that it's running that's not connected to the internet. That would be the only way I could see.
But no, that doesn't even matter, because dude, analog computers before the internet was even a thing, you know that these 3-letter agencies had technology that could hack and or take information off of some of these machines. They had that tech already. So does that even matter? You know?
I don't know. I'm going to look up, where are the Neuralink chips being made?
You know, I don't want to speak about Neuralink specifically, but I was seeing that there's a way for these companies to get around saying what country things are really built in. Because if the large proportion of some, you know, tech piece is built in America or Taiwan or somewhere, but, you know, 10% of it was built in China, they don't have to say that that object was built in China. They just have to say it was built in wherever the majority of the object was built.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's why when you look at a lot of products, it'll say, it will say, what's the wording? Apple does this assembled, you know, and wherever, you know, it's or design
assembled in the United States, parts made in China.
Parts made in China. Yeah, you know, they'll do that with the computers. It will say, like, you know, design created in Cupertino, California.
Yeah,
but then underneath it'll say, like, you know, made in China. It's like, yeah, okay, the design of that and the computer I have probably didn't even go through California. So anyway, kind of crazy. All right. Yeah, so I guess we'll see. We're going to keep an eye on this and see what the progress is. And I'm sure whoever the first public test subject is on this, I'm sure the media will be having multiple interviews and following that person to 24 hours a day to see what that person is noticing. So that'll be kind of interesting to see. So, okay. While we're still streaming publicly, there's actually, okay, yeah, there's just like one more thing really. And then, okay, so a brand new triangular UFO, UAP, now they're calling them, came out in the last couple of days. And it's pretty interesting.
Actually. You mean that people have found it, or there's been a release of blueprints or something?
Yeah, no. An actual video of a UFO that was.
Oh, okay. So this is a UFO video.
Yeah, this is the in Mojave
Mojave?
What? I'm sorry.
Did you say Mojave? Yeah.
Yeah, Mojave. I'm sorry. Yeah, Mojave Triangle UAP. So is that? Oh, that's a long. Yeah. Well, there's the image right there.
That's cool.
So yeah, this is pretty interesting. This is from it took place in April of 2021, and this was labeled as a mass UFO sighting. I guess there were about 50 eyewitnesses that saw this. Multiple people captured it on iPhones and infrared.
That looks pretty big, man.
This does look pretty big, and there's actually multiple aspects of it. And
is there a video of it?
There is a video of it. I think this is it here.
Whoa.
And the New York Post had different video, actually, which was really fascinating. Yeah. She's going to pull up the article now. So this was suspected over a UFO California base, military base. So the question is, did it come from that base, or is this something else? You know, I think a lot of what we're seeing with this kind of stuff is more black op military stuff. I don't think this is, you know, even though we were talking about aliens earlier, I don't really think that this directly is aliens. But this is a crazy video.
And yeah, the lights are weird.
Yeah,
is that from the camera, or is that actually the lights doing
no,
that?
Those are the actual lights on the craft. Those are the actual lights.
It almost feels like that. Yeah, it almost feels like those lights are communicating or something. It's weird.
We're doing something very specific. I don't know much about like how far it was, like how far it was, or how fast it went. But again, most likely this is black op military that probably came from a local base, could be even be a secret base that they were doing some kind of flight test, and just a bunch of eyewitness accounts happened to see it.
Well, and the TR-3B usually has like 3 lights, not
a whole
5 or 6 like that.
Yeah. The TR-3B is the triangular craft. Actually, that was kind of what we saw in the first. I think it was kind of like the first video there that we saw. But the TR-3B, there is a blueprint for that craft, or a patent. I'm sorry, that you can actually look up. No, there's a patents for lots of stuff. Whether or not this was constructed is a different story. However, there's been a lot of people that we even knew, people that we know that even captured footage of this craft, of these TR-3Bs. And the fact that they even have a name and everything else, it seems like, and what's interesting about this specific craft is that, you know, the stealth bomber was our top secret airplane for many years. It was like the thing that no one talked about, and it was totally top secret. And now it's like, oh yeah, stealth bomber. It was like, you know, declassified. So if that's declassified, then that means they have something different. So the big question is, do they have anti-gravity craft like this? And obviously people are seeing them in the sky. So the big question is it one of ours? Is it another nation, or is it aliens? It's only those 3 options. So I would say this is man-made though.
Yeah, I agree.
Stuff. All right. Well, man, there's still a lot more to talk about. We have some miracles that we're going to get into. A really awesome story. We also have our top 10 weirder news of the week, with all kinds of really interesting stuff, such as people fighting over a hot pocket. We'll get into
right up my alley.
Yeah, that one definitely is. We have a bear that broke into a bakery,
A
and
Berenstein or a Berenstain bear that broke
that
into a
is the big
bakery?
question, Rob. We'll find out more on this. And also we didn't really talk about what's going on with Apple, and Target is off target at the moment. So
Mm.
we'll get all into that on our rise.tv platform. So wherever we are streaming, we are going to end it here. But please like and subscribe wherever you are watching us. We would really appreciate it. And if you want to come, or if you can, if you have it in your heart, come over to rise.tv and join us for $9.99 a month. We always do a live Q&A during the show, and we do that on Rise TV, and you get to ask us your questions during our show in the live chat that we have specifically on Rise TV. So come over and join us, ask your questions. And, we've been really censored everywhere, and we're just trying to do our best to get the truth out and avoid the censors. So we talk about the things that we can't talk about on Rise TV so we don't get censored. So
All right,
All right.
you guys. Well, yeah, we'll see you over there.
Yeah, and also follow us on social media. Since I brought up social media,
Yeah, if you guys are not following us on Instagram, you can go look up Rise TV on Instagram and follow us over there. We're putting up shorts all the time. It's really cool. Yeah.
Rise TV official. You have your metaphysical. We have our On Edge of Wonder, and yeah, you can find that everywhere, all social media platforms. So, all right, we'll see you guys over on Rise TV.
Later.
I didn't want to go public without evidence because I knew no one would believe me. The entire incident happened about 5 to 6 minutes in total. And my mom shouts really loud, "Oh my God, what is that? What is that?" At no point did the 2 men in black or the Air Force gentleman ask my mother or her friends what did they see. They looked human, but they did weird things. The men in black, they said, "You will report it as a helicopter crash, or we will take your son away." The men in black play the narrative and the media outlets spew it back out. This was 1991, Project Mockingbird in full effect.